I'm live. I didn't even do my. I finished making my drink. Didn't even finish making my drink. And 3 minutes until I am streaming on YouTube. I can't hear me. Sammy Brook 210 join. What up? I believe that's Sammy. Hey, Sammy. Okay. So I have everything. Oh, fuck. Where's my shits? There we go. Now I am ready. I'm gonna take notes for the shits. Yo, what up? What it do? What it do? And we are live. And they can definitely hear me. Alright, I'm gonna shoot for just an hour of a live stream from this channel. Because damn, I went like 4 hours last time. I didn't even realize. I was just chatting up and just talking so much shit. Y'all don't even know. Y'all do not know. Alright, so I came across a video about a movie, and the movie is Blade Runner. The second one, the one 20 whatever, 20 whatever it's called, Blade Runner. That one, the second one, the more recent one. I I saw the movie, and it's a good movie. It's a really good movie, but it's long and slow. You know, and I mean, I guess that's why I kind of didn't do so well. In the sense that I guess how people thought the movie was gonna turn out. I guess kind of like the classic. Yeah. So the reason I'm doing this review on this movie is because it has to do with it's kind of doing with, I guess, with the whole relationship dynamics and all that bullshit. Hey, what's up, Steve? Click the link in the bio if you want to see the actual my actual stream on YouTube. Yeah, so I'm watching this movie, right? And there's a lot of shit in it, like the future. It's such a dystopian future where you know, the video will basically kind of explain the movie. So let's just go through there, and then we'll have my thoughts as we're going through the movie. But yeah, basically the whole premise of the movie is there's humans, and then there's made up humans that like can do so much more advanced things. They actually send them out into space, and you know, so they could explore space. They come back. You know, they basically made humans, and then I guess they were starting to develop their own sense of wanting to be alive because they didn't survive that long in the first movie. The second movie, I think it was a bit different, but that's kind of like the concept of the world that we're about to like embark on. So, without further ado, let's go with the video. Let's watch it.
2049 is one of the most important films made this century because the movie asks some incredibly important questions about modern society
Fair use.
and the resultant loneliness, with Blade Runner giving us an eerily realistic portrayal of how loneliness is created and enforced by the modern world. Across the main character's journey, he battles with the same forces that shape our current society, and at the end of the movie, you'll realize just how deep the message truly is. So to unlock these truths, we need to jump right into the movie. The film begins with a short backstory which sets up the context of the movie. We are introduced to the idea of man-made humans called replicants. They can have engineered physical and mental attributes far more advanced than evolutionary humans. But the corporation that created them couldn't control them and collapsed after large amounts of replicants went rogue and rebelled. This upheaval, combined with near complete ecological collapse, has left the world as a barren wasteland, being saved only by advancements in artificial farming spearheaded by a man called Wallace, a mysterious technocrat who has since created replicants that lack free will. The older replicants that still have free will and survive the violent rebellions are now hunted by Blade Runners.
That's the whole thing I was saying. So I guess in the second movie, they made new ones that would off the old ones.
Blade Runners are police officers whose job it is to kill or retire rogue replicants. And the main character of this story is Kay, a Blade Runner who is a newer model of a replicant. And we're introduced to him in the first scene, as he flies in a lone car above a vast grey complex. And as he lands, we see another man in a bright hazmat suit who pulls some worms out of a dark liquid.
This is gonna happen. I think this is gonna happen in the future. It's totally gonna happen.
Kay invites himself into the other man's house, where they begin a tense conversation as it's subtly revealed that Kay is a Blade Runner and knows the farmer is a replicant. When the encounter descends into its inevitably violent conclusion, the farmer's superhuman abilities are obvious as he throws the other man through a wall. Kay soon gets the upper hand and scans the farmer's eye with a machine, confirming he's a replicant. But as soon as he's about to execute the farmer, he says something strange.
Because you've never seen a miracle.
Although this is just a normal day on the job for the Blade Runner, the farmer's comment is still odd. Investigating further, Kay finds a perfect yellow flower amongst the ash and dirt of the farm, and realizes it's a marker. He scans the ground below it, revealing a box, but he can't investigate it yet, as he needs to leave to outrun a massive storm. And as he leaves, we realize just how dystopian this world truly is, in all of its monolithic enormity. The world of Blade Runner 2049 is just so oppressive. It evokes a sense of isolation and depression, and despite seeming utterly alien, everything in Blade Runner does almost feel familiar. That same feeling of enormity, like you're just a single grain of sand in a massive desert, is just as present in all the megacities that we live in today. And it's this very real
Fair use. Fair use.
atmosphere, this detached western alienation that we feel in these giant dystopian megacities, is what gives the movie so much weight. It shows the ever-present feeling of loneliness that western megacities feel. But in this vast and uncaring world, there's enormous room for a journey of truth and discovery. At first, it seems impossible to find meaning here, especially with technology complicating and slowing him down. So Kay powers through, although the results of his journey are far from what you'd expect. In fact, Kay's journey is incredibly similar to the journey that everybody is forced to make today. And by studying Kay's journey, we can therefore learn a lot more about who we are and our place in society. But there's a lot of things standing in Kay's way, and they're the same things that stifle people's authentic desires and needs today. One of the ways that Blade Runner draws a very big parallel to real life is through its architecture. The buildings and landscapes in Blade Runner are manifestly horrid. Even seeing them briefly gives you a feeling of impenetrable loneliness and insignificance. And whilst they may be hauntingly beautiful from afar, living around these sorts of buildings is horrifying. That's why people living in megacities today are all too familiar with this feeling. The sense of dread that these concrete monstrosities permeate. Just the presence of modern architecture is enough to give a place an oppressive and grey atmosphere. This is true of nearly all of today's megacities and only compounds the awful mental effects of scratching out a living in the modern world.
That's basically the reason, like, a lot of New Jerseyans that don't live, like, up in North Jersey, they're like, okay, not going to the city, really. Like, we actually, sometimes we just fuck it. We just don't even want to deal with the city just because it's so much. It's just a lot of, it's a fucking engine. New York City is an engine. I fucking hate going to New York. But there's a lot of cool shit to do in there.
The bleak unnaturalness of this architecture is just incompatible with a happy, fulfilling life. And that's why in Blade Runner, this brutalist architecture is matched by the brutal lives of the people that inhabit it. And we'll see what I mean throughout the rest of the film, because in the next scene we learn that the Blade Runner's name is Officer KD6, or just K. He lives a very harsh life of violence, which is only made worse by the constant harassment K gets for being a replicant. They occupy a much lower social class than organic humans, acting as slaves or tools for naturally born humans. K is forced into complete subservience to his boss, following her every command to the letter.
Are you telling me no?
This is the average man. This is the average man in society, basically. That's basically the premise of, like, what it is to be an average man. Let's rewind that back.
Fulfilling life. And
look at these girls. They live a happy life, because that's what it is. That's how it is. You know, there's not much bad things that are gonna happen to them. Versus, you know,
and that's why in Blade
then
Runner,
you look at his lifestyle. You look at his lifestyle, and then you see that his lifestyle is like
brutal lives of the people that inhabit it. And we'll see what I mean throughout the rest of the film, because in the next scene we learn that the Blade Runner's name is Officer KD6, or just K. He lives a very harsh life of violence, which is only made worse by the constant harassment,
aka the average man. Like, that's what it is.
When K gets for being a replicant. They occupy a much lower social class than organic humans, acting as slaves or tools for naturally born humans. K is forced into complete subservience to his boss, following her every command to the letter.
Are you telling me no?
This is basically, it's everyday life at work.
I wasn't aware that was an option then.
Attaboy.
If he shows signs of deviancy like emotion, he'll get retired just like the farmer. This is then enforced through a strange hypnotic test that measures his emotional reactions. K takes this test after the job is done, but after a nervously long process, he gets through fine and is allowed to go home. And even though he doesn't really know it yet, this is the first part of K's journey towards truth. And weirdly enough, this links in with the color scheme in Blade Runner, because the key scenes in this film are yellow, and this is often seen as the color of truth and the right path, whereas red only leads K astray. The yellow flower is the first part of K's heroic journey. This is his call to adventure, and is all a part of the concept of the hero's journey. Now, this concept was first laid out in full by the psychologist Joseph Campbell, and it's made
Fair use. Gotta say fair use so that fucking YouTube doesn't do whatever the... I need to be on the algorithm.
Made up of 3 overall stages which each have their own different parts. First, the hero is given the call to adventure, whether it's figurative or literal. They refuse the call at first until they're given aid by a mysterious figure and learn more about the lie they're living in. But an overwhelming threat forces them out of their usual world and into the unknown. Across this journey, the hero is forced to make hard decisions and sacrifices. But during this time, they also learn the meaning behind their life, whether it's because they're the mythical chosen one or they have something unique that the world needs. Regardless, this is the path to following your destiny, and eventually reaching truth and enlightenment, which the hero can use to defeat the main threat and find their place in the world. And for K, this all begins with the yellow flower, but it's the next realization that will really set the ball rolling. But to understand this next realization, we need to understand the lifestyle of K. K is a representation of the average lonely man in society.
Yep, there. See?
He lives in a dingy apartment in poverty, and when he comes home, we hear his girlfriend shouting from another room.
Okay, it's ready.
This is the scary part. This is the scary shit that's gonna happen in the future, unless men actually, you know, get their passports and they find a wife or a woman somewhere outside of the country where, you know, a lot of these ideologies aren't, like, you know, they're not really taken serious. You know, a lot of countries where there's still traditional values, where women are still women and men are still men, where men can still be men, unless they don't do that and they stay stuck here in the West, this is going to be their future eventually. It's already basically happening in today's day and age right now. It's already kind of the stepping stones. It's the newer, it's about to happen. It's going to happen eventually.
And when he comes home, we hear his girlfriend shouting from another room,
Okay, it's ready. I hope you're gonna like it.
whose name is later revealed as Joy. But Joy isn't just a normal girlfriend, she is simply sentient AI, with her only physical representation existing as a hologram. She's not even real. There is no
I think there's a case right now where a human, a normal human, is actually they're falling in love with an AI, like just by talking to them. I think that's actually happening right now. It's my head hurts when I think about it.
real deep connection. She's a program, but Kay uses this AI to mask the pain of his loneliness. Loneliness is a key theme in Blade Runner, and the character of Joy makes an incredibly accurate parallel with the world today. You see, Joy plays the role of a supportive housewife, but we can't help but notice that she's literally tied to the house, and later on we also learn that she is programmed to love Kay, most likely unconditionally. In fact, Kay has complete control over her, down to her features, voice, and even her eye color. Designed to be the perfect girlfriend, she has no choice but to fulfill her purpose, and even though Kay does feel some artificial love for her, it's still incredibly limited, and we get the sense that Kay knows all of this. He's all too aware of his bleak surroundings when he's asked later about her, and he calls her very realistic. Although it's clear that this romance doesn't have any real basis. There is no dance of courtship or finding out what the other person thinks and feels. Instead, it's completely safe, cold, and sterile. Joy lacks the ability to even consider not loving Kay, and this makes the whole thing so boring and bleak, lacking any of the deeper levels that gives a relationship any meaning in the first place. It's almost like an analogy for adult entertainment.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Is it's happening right now, like that. It's happening. It's. This is why there's so many like male suicides and shit like that. This is like one of the you know, it makes money though. That's another big reason. It makes money. If it doesn't make sense, it makes dollars.
Relationship any meaning in the first place. It's almost like an analogy for adult entertainment, offering you the perfect woman, the perfect body, the perfect face, complete quick gratification, all in exchange of a horrible, lonely, long life. But even without considering the question of free will, Joy serves as a reflection of our society as well. Her role is to keep Kay complacent and smooth out his awful life. She's to anchor him down, to make him never fulfill his purpose, and to keep the ever-present loneliness and horribleness of Kay's world from getting to him. But at its core, it's all inauthentic and imperfect. Technology is fulfilling a role that just can't be replaced, which is why it seems so clear that Joy's holographic visage is just a few steps beyond the adult entertainment and girlfriend experiences that so many men pay for. Parasocial relationships people have with Twitch streamers, Instagram.
Yo, see, that's what I'm saying. Twitch streamers, like, look at Pokimane.
Experiences that so
Oh my
many men
God.
pay for. Parasocial relationships people have with Twitch streamers.
Pokimane. Like, there is a reason why she does not disclose or mention her boyfriend. Everybody knows she has a boyfriend, but there's a reason why she does not put him out there. There's a reason why she does not talk and say that she's in a relationship. There's a reason why she will not put his face anywhere on her shit at all. It's because she's selling the illusion that she's single. She has to. Once she shows her boyfriend, she's gonna lose so many followers. She's gonna lose so many followers. That's why Pokimane does not show her boyfriend, because she's gonna lose all the followers. She knows that. She has to sell that she does not have a boyfriend, because then she's gonna lose all the simps that are on Twitch, all of them. All right, let's get back to the video.
Instagram stars, and OnlyFans models. Sure, Joy may seem real, but she is a commodification. There's nothing there, she doesn't exist. It's a soulless husk of a human being, with Kay simply chasing
Everybody who's watching,
Phantom,
click the
only
link in
making him
the
more and more
my
lonely.
bio if you want
And
to
the
see
same
the
process
live
is
stream on
happening right
YouTube.
now today, and the consequences for both men and women in modern society are horrific. More and more men and women go without any meaningful connections. We're lonelier than ever, more depressed than ever, more attached to our screens than we are the people around us. It's all just a mask to hide up their horrible, depressing, dystopian lives. And this is what's so depressing in Blade Runner. When both Kay and Joy come to embrace on the roof, a call from the boss freezes Joy mid-frame, and Kay is forced to answer, confronting the brutal reality of his life, where his boss demands that Kay come back to the office immediately, as they found something. Once
Ah, damn, that is fucked up. Yo.
As there, Kay is shown the contents of the box, which turns out to be a coffin. A woman's body has been found and it's decades old. At first, it looks like the farmer murdered her, but it's just not the case. Instead, she died in childbirth, which becomes all the more shocking when we learn that she's also a replicant. Now, replicants are known to give birth, but somehow in a miraculous turn of events, she had anyway. And as Kay's boss says, this will break the world as they know it. Learning that replicants can also create life would break the final barriers between them and human beings, forcing the world to come to terms with its gross treatment of sentient life. But all of this can be avoided if Kay hides up the evidence and finds the child as soon as possible. And this setup brings us to Kay's overall quest in his journey to find the mystery behind this child. This is Kay's program purpose. So Kay goes to look up the genetic file of the baby, but just as he finds it, he's greeted by a new character called Love. Now Love is also a replicant and works for Wallace, the shadowy figure behind all of the new replicants, the hidden technocrat running society. Love does give him some info, but it's all fractured and muddled.
You've got a little boy, shows you his butterfly collection. Lost the kill jar.
I take him to the doctor.
But eventually he gets the name Deckard from a recording that was made, and using this info, Kay talks to an old colleague of Deckard's, who also gives him cryptic information. Love, who is updating Wallace on what happened. Now Wallace is a crazed megalomaniac, comparing himself to God. He's the hidden elite, the top 0.01%, and behind his virtuous veneer, Wallace has very dark plans for the future. He hopes to create replicants that can give birth so that he can create a self-replicating population of slave labor for humanity's expansion. And he's created a new model of replicant, but still hasn't unlocked the secret. And in a grotesque display of power and cruelty, he busts one of the new models then kills it. As lives mean nothing to him, it's all about more power and more greed. And all of the people around Wallace are programmed to love and obey him. They have no choice. And that's when Wallace reveals that he knows about the replicant child and tasks Love to find them as well. But Wallace...
Oh, damn. So things getting tough out here.
This isn't just the main antagonist for Kay though. He represents a much larger and more expansive force at work in society. Now the habitus is a concept derived by sociologists to explain how society molds people. When someone is born, they are immediately subject to the attitudes and viewpoints of the people around them. This process of absorption turns them into a reflection of this process and the values that have been instilled within them. But when a society degenerates and people feel no connection to the society around them, it also feeds into this process. Acts of isolation, violence, sexual deviancy build up until eventually the habitus has been changed, twisted by the values that are false and detrimental to the people within it. And that's why Wallace exists as a personification of this twisted dystopian habitus, forcing people into roles that are predetermined, roles that are corrupted at the core. And this has the same effect in Blade Runner as our own world. People are unable to find meaning without proper guidance how to live authentically. We look up to false idols, self-help gurus, and any quick fix for our purposeless lives.
People that don't fucking do anything for you. Celebrities, y'all be idolizing celebrities that ain't doing shit for y'all. And I mean I'm not saying like you can't be a fan. Like I'm a fan of a few people, like celebrities out there, but at least the fans that I'm, fangirling over or whatever the fuck, at least they actually do something purposeful in life. You know what I mean? They're not just some actor, they're not just some singer, they're not just some UFC fighter. You know what I mean? Like like I'll be a fan of it, but it's not like I'm idolizing them. I'm going crazy, and that's basically what a lot of guys do as well. You know,
we look up to false idols, self-help gurus, and any quick fix for our purposeless lives. With our society forcing people into roles they never really wanted, but were pushed into this horrible, isolating box, inevitably leading to loneliness and despair, as people search for some hidden meaning but are unable to ever find it, because they can never see outside of the box they live in. But there's a problem for Wallace and the Habitus. Eventually they will die. Eventually society will change. And when that happens, both the Habitus and Wallace will be unable to force their own will on replicants and society as a whole. So Wallace searches for a replicant that can give birth, and if he can achieve this, then he will gain mastery over people's free will and purpose forever. And so the child that Kay is searching for will in fact unlock this hidden secret. And so the race is on, and Love hires some replicant prostitutes to get whatever information they can out of Kay. So 3 of them walk over to him whilst he's looking at the pictures, and they catch a quick glance before he notices. 2 of them back off when they realize that Kay is a Blade Runner, but the 3rd one strikes up a conversation, and it's clear within this short conversation that Kay's loneliness is at the forefront.
Oh, you don't even smile.
The Kay is an incredibly lonely man. He's been desensitized by his perfect AI girlfriend, just like adult entertainment does with so many men today.
This is one of the reasons why there's a lot of cases of men that are young. They're young and they literally have erectile dysfunction. They have ED, and the reason why, they're just getting rid of all their testosterone. They're just getting rid of all their testosterone. You know what I mean? Because it's such a quick fix. It's such easy access. You know what I mean? It's free. And then you get even to worse. A lot of guys actually put their money in that stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, hold up, my mom's texting me. What happened? Hold up, my mama. Hey, mama. Hold up. What happened? Am I back? Yeah, I'm back.
And this is
But yeah, that's it. You know, that's just what's happening nowadays and why it's such an easy fix. That's like this video is showing so much. Yes, I did. She was just asking if I turned the stove off. Yes, I did.
shuts him off from the real, authentic world. By this point in the story, Kay is at a dead end in his search. He has no idea what to do, so he goes back to the farm where they found the body, and there he finds a secret compartment with a single sock hidden away, as well as a date carved on a tree. Now the date eerily matches one of Kay's memories that he believed were implanted into him artificially, but after talking to Joy, a dangerous possibility is made much more clear. The memories could actually be real, and this would mean that Kay would be the special child that everyone's been searching for. And this is massive news for Kay, and is a key piece in his heroic journey, because so far his life has been almost meaningless, or at least lacking any authentic. And this would mean a tree.
Okay.
Now the day Kay is at a dead end in his search. He has no idea what to do, so he goes back to the farm where they found the body, and there he finds a secret compartment with a single sock hidden away, as well as a date carved on a tree. Now the date eerily matches one of Kay's memories that he believed were implanted into him artificially, but after talking to Joy, a dangerous possibility is made much more clear. The memories could actually be real, and this would mean that Kay would be the special child that everyone's been searching for. And this is massive news for Kay, and is a key piece in his heroic journey, because so far his life has been almost meaningless, or at least lacking any authentic goals or purpose. But now Kay stumbled down a rabbit hole that could confirm his meaning and place in the world. Now philosophers have talked about meaning in lots of different ways for centuries, but one of the most prominent modern Western philosophers to gain attention for their theories was Schopenhauer. He saw people were being fitted into predetermined roles
Fair use, fair use, fair use.
by society. Without the freedom to escape from the roles, they're forced to live out their lives in service, toiling away at labor that they have no connection to, isolated from the product or motive, and no sense of attachment to their work. And this forces people to ask the questions of where the meaning of life comes from. And in both the world of the Blade Runner and our world today, this seems to be an increasingly pressing problem. And in Blade Runner, this analogy is literal. Replicants are designed for and made to fulfill roles that don't give them any fulfillment or purpose, but to fulfill their slave master. And the same is true in the real world, though not in such a literal sense. Even if technology hasn't stripped people of free will like in Blade Runner, it still put them in a box, where we're forced to toil away for a system made up of billions of people, a system that's almost too large to notice or care about the individuals it's made up. But in finding out that he might be the mythical child of a replicant, Kay has been given a glimpse of light, a chance to escape his meaningless existence, with the film showing that there is a way out of Schopenhauer's pessimistic view of the world, and Kay is going to do everything he can to hold onto this hope. So Kay goes back to his place where he had the memory linked to the date.
This might be one of those like one-itis fallacies that men have today, especially if he's still a virgin. They tend to have one-itis. What one-itis is that one-itis is the notion that the one is out there, the chosen one. I'll find it eventually. It'll happen. It'll fall. God will send me. You know, that's what one-itis is, and it works more for girls, but it doesn't work for guys, because girls are the ones that they'll just be out there in the world and they'll get naturally approached, you know, by the masses of men that find her attractive. But for the guy, if he has that type of mentality, especially if you've never laid with a woman before, he thinks that there is the one. You know what I mean? And then because he's the one who's supposed to be doing the approaching, he's the one who's supposed to be building himself up, building characteristics that'll actually be attractive to the opposite gender. You know, that's how, you know, you got to actually work to be attractive. You got to actually work to do something to be attractive. And for a lot of guys, they just don't know that, and they have this fallacy of just the one is out there. You know what I mean? Oh, the one will show up and will fall in love and skip into the sunset. You know, doves flying. You know, it's more detrimental for a man to have that kind of that fallacy. You know, and I guess that's what he's saying, is that he's basically hoping for the possibility that this is true, that he's that chosen child, and you know, that's inevitably not a good thing for men to have the mindset of possibilities. You know what I mean? It's better to have a mindset where your mindset is more of a probability. What's the probability that that's truth? You know what I mean? If it's not truth, then you know what I mean. It's possible. There's that 0.1%, you know, that it could be possible, but the probability is just, it's too much. It's not gonna work like that. You know, back in the day, a lot of shit did happen on possibilities, but not anymore. Not anymore. Let's get back to the video.
To do everything he can to hold onto this hope. So Kay goes back to his place where he had the memory linked to the date, and what he finds only confirms his belief. The same wooden toy in his memory that he thought was fake is still there, and once he's retrieved it, Kay is hit by the realization that he is special, and that he has a higher purpose to work towards, which is only reinforced by Joy, who gives him a real name. And to confirm this theory even further, Kay goes to check whether his memory is an implant or not. To do this, he heads to a specialized lab where the woman responsible for creating replica memories lives. She's immunocompromised, meaning that she can't leave her room and has been there as a child. So she watches Kay's memory with tears in her eyes and tells him that it's all real. What he remembered really did happen, and his life really does have a greater meaning. Up until this point, Kay had been holding in all of his emotions, but when Kay learns that his memory is actually real, it's all too much. It means that he is the replicant child and that his life as a Blade Runner is all a lie. And this knowledge is all too much for Kay, who lets out years of raw, pent-up emotion in one short outburst. All the loneliness, the sacrifices, the false mission his whole life was built around. And soon after leaving the lab, Kay is promptly arrested, where he's taken in by his boss and is subjugated to the emotion tracking baseline test. Kay predictably fails, but saves his own life by lying to his boss that he found the child and killed them. She lets him go and Kay heads home to see Joy. But when he gets home, Joy has a surprise for him. She has hired the prostitute from earlier to sync with her, also that she can experience real love making with Kay. And even though technology looks close to the real thing, it still hasn't cleared the unbridgeable gap. It's all a lie. It's just another form of instant gratification that's holding Kay's life down, all for the benefit of the powerful few. And so just before the prostitute leaves, she places a tracker on Kay so that Wallace can follow him. And suddenly Kay is on a timer. He knows the authorities are tracking him down, and before he leaves, he transfers Joy to the portable device and erases her from the house, so that her memories can't be mined for information on Kay. This means she's tied to the device. If it's destroyed, then she will die with it. Love then shows up to the apartment shortly after, and finds out that they've disappeared. Meanwhile, Kay finds out that the wooden toy he found was from Las Vegas, which is now an eradicated wasteland. Love next goes to see Kay's boss,
Las
who kills him when
Vegas.
she tells him that Kay killed the child as nowhere to be found. And after hacking into the computer system using her dead body, Love learns that Kay is in Las Vegas, but Kay is still ahead of her and makes his way to the ruined city, where he finds Deckard, who Kay now believes is his father, where they talk and discuss the mother of the child, a replicant called Rachel. But before they go any deeper into the discussion, Love shows up with backup, kidnapping Deckard and leaving Kay for dead, who is heavily wounded. But not before Love kills Joy by stepping on her portable device, killing the only strand of his past life.
Wow.
Kay is now completely alone, although is luckily rescued and taken in by a shadowy.
I remember that part in the movie. When that happened, I actually felt like heartbroken. I was like, God damn. Like, I guess the equivalent to that is like of a man having like a pet dog, you know, or a pet cat, or something that they love that is, you know, it'll crush you if it's gone. You know what I mean? It could be a car. It could be an object. That's how men actually do love things. You know what I mean?
Secret society of replicants. The woman who planted the tracker earlier is there to welcome him, where they tell Kay about their plans to rebel against humanity and free themselves of Wallace and the government's control. They even tell him to kill Deckard to stop Wallace learning about the child. But what's more important for Kay is the information they have for him. Rachel had a daughter, not a son, which means that Kay isn't the chosen one. The memories he had were implants from the real girl.
Yep.
Kay doesn't have a predetermined higher goal to strive towards. It was all a facade. Instead, he's only one person in the world, and his whole journey up until this point has only been meaningful insofar as it helped other people on their journeys.
See, that's the whole fallacy part that I was thinking about. That, you know, that I was saying about like the possibility that he could be, You know what I mean? And he was still lied to. He was still lied to. That basically, like, him going and then them telling him that, oh, he is the whatever, and him getting mad at that, that's essentially basically another way of somebody telling you, oh, the one is out there. The one is out there for you. The one girl that will find you, and you'll get married and have a beautiful family and a house, and like that's the fallacy part, that of a guy or a friend or somebody, is usually girls, is telling you, you know, oh, it's gonna happen eventually. And then the guy turns 40 and he hasn't done anything to, you know, he just waited maybe in depression, you know. That's the same thing.
Life has been meaningless for himself. He has been a slave, and this realization breaks Cade down. It's the total reverse on what his whole journey was about. But this doesn't just represent the end of Cade's journey, it also means the end of his world, his identity, who he is. Cade's meaning has been founded on the belief that he is special, that he matters for reasons completely outside of his control. But without this foundation to structure his identity off of, Cade's world is crashing down. He's even lost Joy, his only companion in life. So as Cade steps outside, we're treated to one of the most powerful scenes in the movie, where a massive hologram of Joy appears in front of Kay, telling him that she can help with his deep-seated loneliness. But this isn't actually Kay's Joy, this is just an advertisement. But even without knowing anything about him, the hologram calls Kay Joe, only further confirming the feeling that Kay's life has been built on lies. Joy's love for him, and even what she said in their most intimate moments, were all designed and created by someone else. It was all fake from the beginning. And this one realization drives home Schopenhauer's pessimistic view of meaning. The only thing that has meaning is the struggle to exist. Schopenhauer calls this the will. It's simply the spirit and people that keeps them moving forward. Surviving is the only
Grit.
goal for the will, and once you die, there isn't any way to know what your life was like. All the singular moments that made up your life will vanish. And the philosophy of Blade Runner goes way beyond this. For thousands of years, people have grappled with the idea that without a higher source of meaning, there are only the struggles of life. In Buddhism, this makes up the first two parts of the Four Noble Truths. Life is suffering, and the path to suffering is what Schopenhauer called the will. Buddhism then teaches us that we need to rise above the will altogether. But Nietzsche also spent years on this very same question, and came to a different conclusion. Whilst we can't find meaning outside of ourselves, it doesn't mean that we can't create it. The will, the process of striving towards something, isn't a futile struggle because it has no meaningful end purpose. Instead, a psychologically strong person can change the world around them, creating meaning out of the choices that are laid before them. It takes courage to stare into the abyss of life and create something worth caring about. This is the meaning of life, to create it yourself. The more meaning you can create through your actions, the stronger that you are. And in our modern world, this is even harder than it was before, with people's value systems and their habitats being completely fractured. It gets harder and harder to discover what's actually truly valuable and meaningful in your own life, because there is no set purpose anymore. It's all twisted for someone else's gain. And as technology progresses, it makes the distractions and replacements all the more enticing. But these are just dead.
It's desensitizing. Like, it's literally desensitizing. Like, you're just getting dopamine rush and dopamine rush and dopamine rush. Like, it's just constant, like, you know.
Dead ends, empty of meaning. All of this also leads to crushing loneliness, as people are isolated by their world from the people around them. And the world of Blade Runner is almost a dystopian prediction of the future, where all the faults of today are maximized to the fullest. But even in this barren future, Kay still has the strength to find meaning, as we'll soon find out. At first it seemed like Kay is going to kill Deckard, falling into yet another predetermined role, with Kay going out of his way to ambush Deckard's convoy, shooting down the other hover cars and forcing Deckard's car to land. But instead of just killing Deckard, Kay tries to save him. He fights Love in a long and intense battle, with both of them being gravely wounded. But even after getting stabbed multiple times, Kay overpowers Love and pulls Deckard out of the sunken wreck, only narrowly saving him from drowning. For the first time ever, Kay isn't on some predestined path laid out before him. This time, it's real. His purpose is authentic, and his decisions are entirely his own. So when he saves Deckard, Kay creates a meaning for his journey. He fulfills his heroic path, and by this time he has figured out who is really the replicant child. It is the scientist that worked at the memory lab. Her tears were never for Kay, but because she was seeing her own memory. And when Kay brings Deckard to see his daughter, the journey is complete. All of his struggle and loss,
this kind of this video kind of brings it back. I just kind of figured at the end, oh, okay, so it was the girl, and he's just basically trying to help the father get to his girl, and then we're finding out that the girl is somewhat responsible with some science stuff, right? And that's how I got it. But yeah. Okay, now this clears it up for me more. It's like, You know?
Kay brings Deckard to see his daughter. The journey is complete. All of his struggle and loss and suffering have reunited the child and their father. And it's in this act that Kay finally feels fulfilled. He's discovered the meaning he's always been searching for. And in a bittersweet ending, Kay succumbs to his wounds. But at the end of his life, he finally got to understand what it's like to live for something real. And that's why Blade Runner is such a massive movie. And of course, lots of its details and themes are left up to interpretation. But what is very clear is its ability to give us a window into our modern world. The purpose, the loneliness, the meaning of our place in modern society, which is why the questions that Blade Runner asks are integral to understanding our place in the world, and as time passes by, the message of the film will only become more and more important.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, that was a huge ass, like, video, you know what I mean? I like that video. But yeah, Blade Runner tried to warn you. I mean, I'm not sure if it's exactly like the reason why, like what it was trying to warn us, but there's a lot of things that I think they saw that was happening in the real world, you know, not just with the, you know, obviously they probably weren't looking at it from like women and male perspective, and then relationships and unhappinessness. I think it was just a combination of a few writers that could kind of see how the world was going. You know what I mean? They kind of just added it into this movie, and they kind of made it to like what it's gonna be like in the future. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, and I'm sure some of the writers who did this probably thought that this was a cool idea. You know what I mean? But realistically, it's not a cool idea. It's a very like, it's a sad thing that's happening. You know what I mean? But you know, I guess the universe has its way of balancing things out, because, like I said, there's the passport bros that's happening. My friend actually just recently came back from Costa Rica, and he was explaining how like he was trying to get a house out there. You know what I mean? And a house out there, you know, could have went like at least $50K, you know. Now a guy working here can do that, and because an average man makes from about $25,000 to $45,000 a year. A guy, I believe, if he's able to find other sources of income and stuff like that, he'll easily be able to pay off the like his mortgage out there working here in this country. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys are starting to, you know, get their passports, are starting to travel the world, they're starting to go out to the Philippines and stuff like that. So that's one way that it's going to level out kind of the stuff. And you know, as men should, you know what I mean? If that's a problem for them, if the problem is that they just don't have a wife, they don't have a girl, and they want one, you know, that's problem solving right there. He's making a decision to get the F up out of this country and find a woman where actual traditional values are actually valued. You know what I mean? Because that shit does not work in today's society. We have too many women that are successful. They don't need a man. The reason why they want to become successful is because they don't want a man. They want to be independent from a man. But you know, and that's fine. You know, they think that they've been taught that they're supposed to get to that guy's level, that guy that they want, that's a millionaire, and they get there, and the millionaire does not like how she acts, does not like how she behaves, does not like, because she's like him, she's acting like him. He got there as a millionaire the same way she got there as a millionaire. Tough, strong, hard-headed, you know, assertive, disagreeable, because, you know, he's not just going to say yes to every deal he makes, you know what I mean? You know, a lot of those things she had to do as well, and she's just chopping away her feminine qualities. She's chopping away her nice, sweet tenderness, cuteness of what she naturally was. And then eventually they just end up alone and sad and by themselves and not really, you know, but it's a pretty fucked up thing that's happening right now in this world with all this bullshit. But done with the video. Those were my thoughts on the video. It's happening, bro. It's happening. It's happening as we speak. Everybody's gotta like find some way to fix their own issues on this type of topic, of how the world is with intersexual dynamics, relationship dynamics, relationship politics, if that's what you want to call it. But yeah, I'm gonna leave the video out right here, and yeah, peace.